A very exciting day in racing throughout the country, and of course right here at Gulfstream Park. We are of course on the eve of Kentucky Oaks Day, the Kentucky Derby coming up this weekend. Thank you for joining us here on Gulfstream today. I'm Acacia Courtney and happy to be joined by Jason Blewett. Jason, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Good to be here, settled into South Florida. I want to thank all the fans for their support over the last few months, and happy to call Gulfstream Park my new home as we set sail here on Gulfstream Park today. And certainly a good time for me to jump on board and join a world-class brand and product, considering it is Derby week and obviously just about 2 days and change out from the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs.
Of course, and we were talking about this earlier. Kentucky Derby Day was actually my first day last year, so coming on my 1-year anniversary. So good time certainly to jump in. We do have a lot of exciting stuff coming up on this spring and summer meet here at Gulfstream Park. But tomorrow, it's not only Oaks Day, but it's also Beat the Expert. And guess what? I'm up this week. There's my my intimidating face, or trying to be as intimidating as I can with the smiles, right, for the camera. So you can go onto our Facebook page. Don't forget, our post time has been 1:15 p.m. Tomorrow and Saturday, our post time will be 12:55 for the Oaks and Derby cards. So you only have until 12:55 to get your picks in. Go on and use hashtag Beat the Expert. You could have the chance to win one of those great polos if you pick more winners than me.
Well,
should be a fun contest.
They have got their work cut out for them with you on the Friday edition of Beat the Expert for sure. And yeah, we'll run 10 races tomorrow afternoon at Gulfstream Park. Just 9 today. Getting off a little easy here on my first day down here in South Florida for the Stronach group. So Beat the Expert tomorrow, and obviously a lot going on throughout Kentucky Derby weekend and week here at Gulfstream Park.
Yes, we're easing you in. And as you said, a lot going on. The biggest Kentucky Derby watch party right here at Gulfstream Park. Admission and parking free. You can come in on Saturday. There will be that great Kentucky Derby buffet, a t-shirt with your purchase of the Kentucky Derby program. Lots of fun stuff. Hat contest as well.
There's no better place to watch the Run for the Roses, a great American tradition, than at the racetrack with fellow racing fans. We have got you covered here at Gulfstream Park. You can check out some more information at gulfstreampark.com. And, of course, plenty of ways to get involved at the windows and over at expressbet.com, including the Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby double. Always a fun wager, and I do like that pick 3 that links those 2 races with the belly of the sequence, the Woodford Reserve Turf Classic. Always a classic, if you will, on Derby Day at Churchill.
It is a classic, and that's not an easy race to handicap. So good luck to you if you are playing on Friday here. Though it is Kentucky Oaks Day, we'll have advanced wagering on the entire Kentucky Derby card. So don't want to miss out on that. If you're like me and sometimes forget things that you want to bet, you can get it in a day early. So don't forget to join us with that. Now, they did have the draw for the Kentucky Derby yesterday. We'll revisit that a little bit as well. Plenty of Gulfstream horses to watch. Of course, we had Always Dreaming Florida Derby winner in post number 5. Guinevere in post number 10. 15-1 on the morning line. He was the Fountain of Youth winner.
He was the Fountain of Youth winner, and perhaps one of the best human interest stories throughout this 2017 field in the Kentucky Derby. Of course, noting Guinevere's trainer, Antonio Sano, and the interesting life that he has led, and you know, being a perennial leading trainer in his native Venezuela. He's on the big stage here, and one of the highlights for me being down at Gulfstream Park numerous times throughout the Winter Championship meet was watching Antonio Sano run down the track as Guinevere was drawing away and pouring it on in the Fountain of Youth. Obviously a race that if he's able to recapture and gets a good trip and a hot pace to attack, he could certainly be right there come crunch time late Saturday afternoon.
I think Antonio covered that run into the first turn maybe even faster than his horse. It was great to see that. We'll look at the second half of the field for the Kentucky Derby. Of course, 20 in here. Classic Empire, the morning line favorite at 4-1 in post 14. Irish War Cry, another local horse to cheer on as well. In 17, he won the Holy Bull and Patch with our own Tyler Gaffleone, his first Derby mount.
Yeah, Tyler is one of the leading dogs here, to say the least, if not the top dog, currently at Gulfstream Park. Best of luck to Tyler riding in his first Kentucky Derby. Channing Hill, an old buddy of mine as well, riding one of the inside 50-1 bombs. That'll be his first Kentucky Derby. But Tyler, no doubt, a young man who has put put up some good numbers, and it has impressed quite a bit of people, both in the game and racing fans as well, and we'll see what he can do from the outside post with Patch. But getting back to another neat story, you've got Irish Warcry, New Jersey bred, trying to take down the Kentucky Derby for trainer H. Graham Motion, knows what it takes to win the Run for the Roses. Of course, a few years ago, won the Derby with Animal Kingdom. Irish Warcry was able, after a very impressive win in the Holy Bull, and Wood Memorial was able to put that stinker in the Fountain of Youth behind him.
He did, and we'll want to revisit the Holy Bull. We'll go back and show you that performance. We've been kind of revisiting some of these things. Now, the Holy Bull, Jason, was an interesting race for me because there was some significant scratches. I think that the pace kind of fell in his lap for Irish Warcry. And not to mention, I think Gunavera, who did end up finishing second there before he went on to win the Fountain of Youth, he was hot, he was sweaty, he was worked up prior to the Holy Bull. Everything came together for Irish Warcry. Pretty cool to get to see him rebound and win the Wood.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Irish Warcry. He would not look good, and perhaps he wouldn't even be in the Kentucky Derby if the Fountain of Youth was his last race. But good trip aside, and the Grade 2 Wood Memorial up north on my old stomping grounds, the Big A, was a nice effort over Battalion Runner, and we'll see. The Wood at one time, and it's a story for another time. I think it's blasphemous that it's no longer a Grade 1 and was a Grade 2 this year, but that's a race that was, at the turn of the century, a very fertile spot for future Kentucky Derby winners, beginning with Fusaichi Pegasus in 2000, Monarchos, and continuing. The last Derby winner to come out of that race was Funny Side back in 03.
And New York bred, so definitely exciting to see how that all shakes out. Of course, you can watch all of that right here at Gulfstream, but we do have today's card to tackle. We'll give you a look at our featured wagers today. The first race does start, as it always does, with the 50-cent early pick 5. Jason will be tackling the pick 5s today. He'll give you a look at his ticket. Our Super High 5 does start in the second race today. There is no carryover in that, but that is any race with 7 or more betting interests, so keep an eye out for that throughout the afternoon. Our pick 6, our Rainbow pick 6, we do have a carryover in that. It's building up, $42,000 plus. Starts in the 4th race today with the 9-race card, just a 20-cent wager. And then race number 5, we close things out once again with the 50-cent pick 5. Again, Jason will have both pick 5 tickets, and I'll take a look at the Rainbow 6. Shall we dive in?
I think we should. That race 5 on the 9-race card really becomes a pivotal race, so to speak, and a real significant crossroads because it cashes out the early 5 and begins the late 5. I think I've got a potential single lurking in the 5th, so sit tight for that. And we'll get started here on a day we're fast and firm, and thankfully we have some fans here in our little studio outside the walking ring.
Yes, we've got a little cool air coming at us today as it is a warm day, but we start things off in the first race at 6 furlongs on the main track, $30,000 claiming event for 3-year-olds and upward. And this does kick off that early pick 5. You gave us a teaser. Let's see it.
Yeah, let's dive right in. And we're starting slow here. Not looking to get buried in my first opening week working here in the South at Gulfstream Park. So just a $13.50 play. A couple singles, including that Christophe Comont one I kind of teased a few moments ago in race number 5. That filly a drop down, the number 2 Fashion Factor. We've also got a single in race number 2, a race I had a hard time making heads or tails in a 5/8 turf sprint. We'll go 3 deep in race number 1 using the 1, 3, and 6 and the horse. And again, we're way out, 50 minutes, just under an hour out from the opener here at Gulfstream Park. I'm not sure what's in the pool, but clearly that odds board, it goes without saying, is going to fluctuate drastically between now and then. But I do like the horse that is the prohibitive favorite, the 6 Wild Good. I think he pulls the right kind of trip beneath Edgar Zayas. I like his early speed, and I like the drop from the outside post.
And he certainly does get a little bit of a drop. I think if you look at his Beyer speed figures, he does appear really to be the class of the field. He's run against 30,000 straight non-winners of 2 competition before. He's beaten slim margins in there in that past few races. Now, he does have some questions, and if you're going to get any sort of short price like he is right now, I was a little bit hesitant about him, and I think you have the right tactic of using a couple horses to have some coverage in this first leg because he's just 1 for 12 at this Gulfstream Park course. He is 1 for 12 on form, of course, and he's got some speed to him as well. Of course, he did win in special weight competition. I just took a little bit of of a guess with the 3 in some money on that clash drop. He did lug in last time. Nick the card shark was first-time starter, and then he went on to win again after that. So I'm going to go with in some money on the drop as well, but I think you have to use both of those horses.
Yeah, top connections for sure involved with the 3 in some money, who has never run, at least against winners this kind for trainer Ralph Nix, and you get Tyler Gaffleone. They are the big 2 in here. We'll see ultimately what they do as far as the post-time odds go, because the 6 Wild Good is your third choice on the line at 3-1, but I'll take him from the outside to start things off on a beautiful sunny Thursday here in South Florida.
I like it. We'll move on to the second race. This is where our super high 5 wagering does start. Again, that's with any race. 7 runners or more, and we'll look at this one. 5 furlongs on the turf, $25,000 maiden claiming event, and we're a little bit in disagreement here, but let's start with the number 3 Smart Dude, because I know that you wanted to show the last performance from this horse. He was impressive switching to the grass.
He ran very well. Now, of course, you got nearly 23-1 most recently as we backtrack, and we'll check out the turf debut of the 3 Smart Dude, who again was above 20-1 odds. We can just roll the tape, guys. We've got him highlighted, and what you see is what you get. He was on the lead, did everything right except hold off a couple of late runners in this one for trainer Ramon Moya. And what he's got going for him today, aside from the fact that I don't like, again, that he was such a big price and he'll likely or potentially go favorite. He is right now in the early double wagering. That early speed he brings to the race won me over. I think he is the speed of the speed, and off a tough luck third and narrowly beaten third in his grass debut. I think amends today for the 3 Smart Dude, and in a race I didn't like any of the others. I'm going to single him in leg number 2 of the pick 5.
Bold single, but if you have an opinion, that's the way to do it. Maybe get some value in a couple of the other legs. But yeah, I thought he did show a pretty good early speed, definitely much improved speed when switching to the turf, but I did think there was much better energy from the winner on the outside, and probably that outside post. He looked like he was hustled up a little bit early, so I did go with a first-time starter, United Del Coco, who not only has a great name and is kin to Lucky Strike Del Coco, who's an 8-time turf winner. We'll show a trainer stat on Ralph Nix in the past 5 years, first-time starters on the turf at Gulfstream. This is just a broad stat, but I wanted to highlight how it is still a positive ROI with some good percentages, 13% win, 34% in the money, and a 244 ROI. Now, I admit the numbers and the pools do get a bit smaller when you narrow it down to maiden claiming, but when you narrow it down to maiden claiming, his ROI is more than $4 actually.
And this is a trainer, and rightfully so, takes quite a bit of money, so that is a noteworthy stat and ROI as well with Ralph Nix and Tyler Gaffleone. You're taking them to go unbeaten in the first 2 here as they have the 5 United Del Coco. And look, it's a maiden 25 here on the turf at Gulfstream Park. Need not be a winner. Any of these new faces, if they can run a little bit, they might be very tough, and it does look like you picked the first of that. Might just be the livest, but I'll take the 3 Smart Dude because I'm one smart dude. Let's get on to the third.
That's a good way to put it. That's it. Confidence is good, right? So we'll look at the number of the third race today. 7 furlongs on the main track, $25,000 state-bred maiden claiming event for 3-year-old fillies. And a couple of different ways to go. You did land on the number 3 Helen Virginia, but let's look at the morning line favorite, the 7 Sweet Distinction, as we do have a replay for that one as well. Came off a 7-month layoff and ran a bang-up race last time.
I thought the race was, to be honest, fair, and I want to go back and take a look at the number 7 Sweet Distinction, who last time out was the number 6. We've got her highlighted in red, and we can roll the tape. You watch the trip she pulled in this one. Now, granted, she was almost 13-1. It's not. This was not a spot in which she was a heavy favorite or anything like that. But you watch the inside horse at 6-5. She got hooked in a very vicious duel, and you would have taken at this point, I think, of the stretch run, any price on the 7 Sweet Distinction. Not only she doesn't win, she blows second as well. And I do think this was a race in hindsight, even though she got the flashy 62 buyer, that just looks a bit better on paper than it did on the racetrack. I think she's a vulnerable favorite here in race number 3.
She certainly could be a vulnerable favorite. I do think that she is, on paper, of course, the one to beat. And I'll be a little bit more forgiving for her because she did come right off of that layoff, and she did take a significant drop in class as well. She went from maiden special weight company down to the $25,000 tag. I like that they don't drop her again off of now second off the layoff, and they keep her at that lateral level. So I certainly do respect that. The 3 Helen Virginia, I've been chasing this filly for a few starts because she was so green at her start, and she is actually a very good looking. She's big, she's got a great coat, she's sizable. Maybe just that drop in class will help.
I'm hoping that's the case with the 3 Helen Virginia, who's had legit excuses in her last couple. Now, they look ugly on paper, but 2 back, and she was well bet in that race, but she ran into an absolute buzzsaw in Florida Fabulous, so I know you're obviously nodding your head, very familiar with, for trainer David Fox. I'm a fan of hers, too, and expect some big things down the road as the season progresses with the filly, who might just be grade 1 caliber. And then you've got the turf race last time out for the 3 Helen Virginia. I just think a filly who's in the right spot today, whose last couple of lines, legit excuses, and she's just dirtied up here.
She is, and maybe that'll help you get a better price. And speaking of Florida Fabulous, both she and Cajun Delta Dawn, Dave Fox's Florida Sire Stakes winner last year, both of them will be in graded stakes company at Churchill Downs this weekend, so definitely exciting to watch. I did want to mention the number 5, Federica, because we both had a bit of interest in her. She was last time out, but she was closing strongly and very, very wide in that race. There is a jockey switch. Lionel Reyes is off all his mounts today, and Edgar Zayas will be up, but I really thought she improved last time out and could continue to.
No question, and a big close. It was a race, and perhaps where it wasn't a situation where she was threatening the winner, but as far as really getting herself up in the game and doing so late, notably, a nice effort most recently from the 5 Federica. And you get the feeling, win, lose, or draw today, she's going to give you in her 3rd lifetime start her best race. We'll see if it's good enough to take on the likes of Helen Virginia and the 7 Sweet Distinction.
All right, well, that's how we see the first couple of races. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll tackle that 20-cent Rainbow Six.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions that make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet, we are racing.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today, ready to tackle that Rainbow Six. Acacia Courtney joined by Jason Blewett today, and we'll get right to it and give you a look at my ticket. I do have a single in here for this sequence. Again, we have that carryover of $42,000 plus, still keeping it affordable, $38.40 for me. My single will come with Quiet Force in the 6th race. That's going to be my best bet today, and I wanted to spread in a couple of other legs, including this first one. So I'll use 4 horses to start things off, 2 in the 5th, singling in the 6th, using 3, 4 in the 8th, and 2 in the finale. So hopefully that single, that all hinges right in the middle of the sequence.
Well, you're in good company. You got Mike Baker, a good post on the turf, one of the nation's preeminent grass trainers there, sending out a Quiet Force in the Thursday feature. A good one coming up in the Gulfstream Park 6 today. And you got your work cut out for you as far as giving out a Rainbow Six play, because the man inside, the legend, Ron Nicoletti's had a couple of Rainbow Six winning tickets over the last couple of cards here.
He did. Now, usually I do the pick 5s. I got the early pick 5 yesterday, and he got the Rainbow Six yesterday and the Rainbow Six for over $1,000 this past weekend.
Yeah.
So he's been on fire lately. So hopefully he's given me some good lessons, and we'll try to tackle that. Now, we did agree in here, though there's a few ways to go, but the number 4, Tiuna, jockey change in here to Emmy Sale Jaramillo, turning going back to one turn on the turf, class relief. That was a very weird pace setup race last time out, as the pace setter, Katinka, actually bucked a little bit and hopped. It forced German Street to go out to the front, so I'm going to be forgiving for her. I like her in this spot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was happy to see you use 4 in here, including Tayuna in this one, and she just had, with the break last time, no shot against a much better field, and I think what she's got going for her in this spot today is she's kind of a new face where you're catching a number of fillies in here, and they're honest and they're consistent and they're sharp, but they're horses that just tend to face each other every couple weeks, and there just doesn't seem like there's that much separation, at least as far as the talent department goes, with the likes of the 1 Heart Astray, the number 2 My Third Eye, the outside runner for Mike Maker, Hanson's Girl, and I like Tayuna as a new face here. Now, speaking of recent rematches and familiar friends and foes here locally at Gulfstream Park, let's backtrack to April 12th as we look at Heart Astray and My Third Eye, who are coming out of this 8th race at Gulfstream Park back on April 12th. The one you're really going to want to watch here is the horse towards the back of the pack. That is the Orange Cap. We've got it right there. That is the number 1 horse today in Heart Astray, as we can let the tape roll and you can watch the trip that she pulled in here. In fact, the number 4 horse is the one you want to watch. That was Heart Astray. My apologies there. You'll watch the trip, though. She's just not able to get to the outside, as the 1 My Third Eye is able to sit back and make a run in between horses. An okay effort here in traffic from the number 4 Heart Astray.
Yeah, number 4 Heart Astray. She came up the rail there. I thought she actually looked a little unsettled early, and you can see it ended up being basically a cavalry charge down towards the rail, and she was still moving with good energy. Best lead push from My Third Eye, who's been in good form lately, and she faced to the outside Hanson's Girl as well. And talking about those rematches, I totally agreed with you in finding a new face, but pretty good performance from her 2 back too.
Yeah, but now Hanson's Girl, good effort 2 back in a race we'll watch, and you've got the Wesley Ward filly, My Third Eye, who's hot to the touch. She'll look for her hat trick today, but you do want to, the filly we've got circled here in the yellow cap, that is Hanson's Girl. This was the effort that propelled her to that loss last time at 6-5. I think quite a few people were taken with the effort because things at this point are going swimmingly for her. She's having a great trip, but as the race starts to unfold off the top of the stretch, she just winds up in a trick bag where she's got no place to go. But what do? Fine. She didn't have a clear trip here. Her last race, I thought, on April 12th against My Third Eye and Heart Astray, she by far ran the worst out of those 3.
I absolutely agree with you. You can totally be forgiving of this performance. She got knocked around twice on March 22nd. Last time, unfortunately, did not fire. So we both opt for the new kid on the block as we move to the 5th race. This does kick off our 2nd pick 5 of the day. It's a mile on the turf, a $16,000 claiming event for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. And Jason, let's see that late pick 5.
Yeah, let's go. We've got Fashion Factor anchoring the early pick 5 in race number 5, and of course anchoring the start of the late 5 here at Gulfstream Park for Christophe Comant. That is a Fashion Factor. I did use your Quiet Force in race number 6. Again, a solid Thursday feature on tap. I'll also use the 7, Keep the Dream Alive. Don't like the lengthy layoffs with that horse, but a shorter field on the turf and a race in which that horse might be able to set a slow pace. And then we'll go 3x3 and a 2-bagger to close out things in race number 9, an $18 play. We'll see if we can get lucky and hopefully live going into race number 6 on the heels of the 2 Fashion Factor. Do you like this filly? In fact, you'll take the inside post 1, 2, 3, but you've got my single second.
I certainly do. I like Fashion Factor quite a bit. I will use her in here. She actually comes out of that same race I was talking about just a minute ago, as Katinka was the pace setter in there. She bucked at the half-mile pole, forced German Street to move up past her. I thought Fashion Factor very rank early on in that last race, drifted off the first turn. She had a world of trouble that maybe doesn't show up completely on paper. Love the class drop for her and the jockey change.
All right, little Miss Dude from the inside post, Angel Penna Jr., longtime face, obviously comes from great stock in the thoroughbred racing game. He's now based here with a smaller outfit down in South Florida. He's the trainer of the 1 Miss Dude, who also is getting, I mean, her claiming price just cut in half in a much easier race and field all around for a filly who's very well posted.
That certainly could be the key. She does have to get a good trip from the rail, which I certainly think she will, given her running style. I didn't want to leave off the 3 Beauty of a Day. Since Elizabeth Dobles claimed this horse, she has just looked fantastic, been well turned out in the afternoon. So a very nice race to kick things off in the late pick 5 as we get to the 6th race today. Again, this was where my single did come. 1 mile on the turf, allowance optional, claiming for 4-year-olds and upward. And Quiet Force, last time out, he was at the back of the field. We want to go back and show that race.
Yeah, just a race where he was able to save ground in a very compact field, but he never really had a chance to get his feet beneath him as the race unfolds in front of him. And you could see Jose Ortiz was able basically to sit on the rail and the hedge throughout, but where are you going to go? And he was forced just to kind of grind things down towards the inside in a race where things really bunched up, got very tight, and there wasn't a heck of a lot of movement. And I think, and I'm curious because one of the fun things for me now is learning this horse population in South Florida. This was a very solid, I'd say, grade 3 stakes quality field. There were some really hard-hitting veterans in that spot that Quiet Force is coming out of.
There absolutely were. You look at my point exactly. He's a horse that's been in excellent form. And I think that probably one of the biggest concerns about Quiet Force is the turn back in distance. As if you scroll through his past performances, he was going 1.5 miles in the Gleaming, trying even 2 miles in the H. Allen Jerkins, but he has an excellent record at this mile distance. He's 4 for 11, and we'll show a stat on trainer Mike Maker as well. In the past 5 years, after a 31 to 60-day layoff on the turf, going a route of ground in the money last time out at Gulfstream. Now, this is a very specific stat because he has very big sample sizes, and it's still a big sample size, and he's still 32% wins, 60% in the money, positive ROI of 248. So I agree, he comes out of good grace, a very hard-knocking 7-year-old horse.
Yeah, now he's got his work cut out for him today. I like him, you do as well, but he does land in a race where perhaps he'll have to make up ground like he was unable to do, at least as far as a win picture last time, and a spot where I think the 7 keep the dream alive. And it's nice seeing the Generasios give trainer Joe Orsino a shot with this homebred by Lawal de Zanimo. Did some good things for Christophe Command, ending the championship meet here about a year ago at Gulfstream Park, and then of course was involved in that dead heat victory at Belmont Park in early July, right before Saratoga. You do have the layoff to contend with Keep the Dream Alive, but you've got a horse that's got some talent, and in a short field or compact field on the grass today, I think this is a spot where he might be able to set an uncontested pace, and if that happens, might get a little brave. I think his stock goes up. I used him as my second runner in today's late pick 5, but there's some others to talk about in the race as well.
There is. I went to the inside. I believe you did want to show a replay, though, of Keep the Dream Alive, and we are a little tight on time, so let's do that because certainly could see him maybe as getting a good price, and he's run some big numbers in his career.
Yeah, he's run very well. He likes this Gulfstream Park turf. He's in good hands. Now, he does go from a turf master and probably a legend who's a first ballot Hall of Famer, Christophe Command. He's going down to Joe Orsino here in Florida, but Joe does an excellent job. He's got 4 breezes under the belt to keep the dream alive, and if he gets loose, he'll get brave. What do you think of the 5, Bashart, who's now with Patrick B. and Cone? He's had some good trainers in the past, and he's trying to recapture some of his old form.
He certainly has. It's been a long time between drinks for this horse, so I'll use him a little bit further down. Was intrigued to the rail by the 1 Our Great Adventure. You throw in 2-step time. We'll get into all of these a little bit later on today as we still have a couple races to cover. Let's go quickly do the 7.5 furlongs on the turf. 12.5 maiden claiming event for 3-year-olds and upward. And we're not in agreement in this race, which I love because I think that this is a great betting race. Let's start with your top pick, the 7, Perlo.
Yeah, I like Perlo for a very good second out barn, and you've got a trio of second-time starters who I've got first, second, and fourth in this race, and I think one of those second-time starters is likely to step up and improve today. I'm hoping Perlo does that for a barn who over the last 5 years, second time out, is 5 for 18 for just under 30%, a healthy ROI, and is 3 for 5 with this move on the turf for 60%. Perlo, for me in a race, I just think the favorite, Second Street, despite the drop, is a horse who's never really factored against better fields, but is just going to be an overbet favorite because of the drop.
I do agree with you. In my top selection, the 6 Don't Quit does come out of the same race as your top selection, where Mongol G wired the field and then went on to do that in his next start. We'll show a stat on Victor Barbosa Jr. with Don't Quit. Talking about those second-time starters, second-time starter on the turf at the maiden claiming level, 2 for 7 winning, 5 for 7 in the money, and an ROI of nearly $4. So definitely definitely some good value opportunities in there as we both go for a little bit of a price play on the outside to beat the favorite as we move to the 8th race today, 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Starter optional claiming for the 3-year-olds. Plenty of places to go in here, and it looks to me, Jason, like there was a lot of potential speed. That's why I went to the 5 major key to close. That was a tough pace setup in that day, but Papacho, who will be in for the $35,000 tag, adding blinkers. Mike Maker once again.
I'm rolling the dice with Maker here. Guy's got tremendous numbers off the claim on the turf. In fact, nearly 210 horses in the sample. It's 208. He's got 52 wins for 25%. You get Tyler. The blinkers go on. The 35K tag is there. Papacho for me in race number 8.
And if there is that speed, probably to the inside with the 1 DeRocher and the 2 Fact Check. Of course, Fact Check probably going to take a lot of money from the Todd Pletcher barn. I just did think some others in here had some stronger numbers than him.
No, I like your point with the 5 major key. I did note this horse had kept good company during the championship meet, and I'd say overall from top to bottom, this is an easier spot. Not probably. This is an easier group of horses. I think you talked me into using him in the late pick 5 and late pick 4. But the 8th race, the 3-year-olds, and our final turfer on the afternoon. We'll wrap things up on the main track.
Yes, we will. 7 furlongs on the main track. Maiden claiming for $20,000 tags. And the number 6 Fantastic Kitten, to me, just looked to be the speed of the speed, but probably on the drop, the number 8 Ultron, on paper, the one to beat.
Now or never for Ultron. Maybe not now or never, but she is going to be, I think, a clear favorite in this race. And as far as the timing and the drop for this colt by Proud Citizen, Ultron, I just think really has this field over a barrel. I would consider, if you were putting in a budget-minded play as far as the multis go, I think this horse for many people might just be a single in the nightcap.
Certainly could. A significant drop in class from State Bred Maiden Special Weight Company in the championship meet to that $20,000 tag. Could always set up for a first-time starter. Terrible outside post, but we will show you a stat on Kathleen O'Connell with the number 11 Jacob. First-time starters, dirt sprint, maiden claiming level. She does an excellent job with this, and all of Kathleen's horses do look so great coming to the walking ring in the afternoon. Positive ROI for her and about 19% in the win column.
Well, you do move in a few spots from the outside post, four scratches in race number 9. So post number 7, excellent trainer in Kathleen O'Connell, certainly a long-time face here in South Florida. Jacob with Edgar Zayas might be very live and good to see. You don't come across them too often. A firster by Donna Rail Court in the nightcap, a horse I'm sure was running before your time for trainer Nick Zito, but one I have fondly remembered all these years later.
It's great. I love being able to follow the progeny. We have several 2-year-old races coming up soon, and lots of fun stuff going on here at Gulfstream Park. Pete Aiello will be up in just a moment to give you those scratches and changes. We only finished 3 minutes late. I think we did a great job, and lots more to come. Jason, looking forward to a great summer.
It's my first day, all right? I'm learning the ropes around here. Pete's ready to roll, and best of luck, everybody, today at Gulfstream Park.
We have to take care of these horses that, give us so much joy.